Good morning or afternoon or evening, everybody. This is your test 4 review sheet. Apparently it's a double review session going on here. Your test is going to be on Thursday, March 5th, and I'm going to show you how to do every single problem. Number 1, inverse. Again, you need to know your converse, your inverse, your contrapositive. You have a song to help you remember that. Converse. We know we switch the order. We know the inverse. You negate both. And we know the contrapositive. You switch and negate. And if it asks you for logically equivalent, that's your contrapositive. This one's asking for the inverse. Inverse, you negate both. If I eat tacos becomes if I do not eat tacos. I am not hungry becomes I am hungry. If I do not eat tacos, then I am hungry. Choice 3. Number 2, two triangles are similar, and the ratio of each pair of corresponding sides. Ratio of the corresponding side. That's your rocks. What you need to know. The ratio of the corresponding sides is equal to the ratio of the perimeters. The rocks squared is the ratio of the areas, and the ratio of the corresponding angles is always 1 to 1 because the corresponding angles are congruent. So, which is not true. Their areas have a ratio of 4 to 1. Yes. 2 squared is 4, 1 squared is 1. Their altitude's the side, so it should be the same. 2 to 1, 2 to 1, that one is good. Their perimeters should be the same, it is, 2 to 1. The corresponding angles, no. The corresponding angles should be 1 to 1. So which one is not true? Choice 4. Number 3, which of the following about rhombuses is true? I don't know. So I'm going to draw a rhombus with the diagonals. Are the consecutive sides perpendicular? Is that a right angle? No. Consecutive sides are congruent? Yep. Diagonals are congruent? Nope. This green one is obviously a lot longer than this blue one. Rectangle and square, where it's straight, those are congruent diagonals. Are consecutive sides parallel? Are these sides right here parallel? No. Which one is true? Choice 2. Draw the shape. Look at the shape, answer the question. Which of the following would be the reason for proving these triangles are congruent? Well, I have 2 angles. One side. So, can't be HL. That's S with a right angle. Can't be choice 3 because that's 2 sides of an angle. Could either be ASA or AAS. Well, is this angle between the 2 sides? Yes. If it were, let's say, this side that was marked, excuse me, if it was that side that was marked, then it would be angle side, but it's not. Volume. Volume equals the area of the base times the height. Length times width, pi r squared. We know that from our song. It's a cone. Is a cone length times width or pi r squared? It's pi r squared. So it becomes B equals pi r squared times the height. However, does a cone come to a point? Yes, it does. So it's 1/3. And you will see that 1/3 is the reference sheet. From here, we just substitute our values in. The radius is 2. The height is 5. Being how the answers, looks like for the most part, have pi's in them, I am not going to type pi into the calculator. When I do that, I get 20/3 pi. Notice for number 6, I put graph paper here because when at all possible, use a graph. A is 5, -1. B is 2, -4. It wants the midpoint. Let's see. What point's in the middle here? Is it -3, 3? I bet you feel pretty stupid if you put that as your answer. 0, 5, not even close. 7, -5, 2, 4, 6, 7, 2, 4, 5. Yeah, that's not happening. 3.5, -2.5, 3.5, -2.5. Yeah, that looks perfect. If you put this onto a graph, it is super easy. If you don't, you're a lot more likely to make a mistake. Now, to do midpoint algebraically, you do need to know that. Midpoint is the average of the x values, comma, the average of the y values, which is x1 plus x2 over 2, and y1 plus y2 over 2. We have x1, y1, x2, y2. My x's are 5 and 2. My y's are -1 and -4. That's 7 over 2. That's -5 over 2. And that's 3.5. And that's -2.5. Like this. Goodbye. Okay. Equation of a circle. Remember, for the center, negate what's in the parentheses. So, -a, -b. Radius, square root of the right hand side. Square root of c squared is c. -a, -b, radius c. There you go. And of course, the general formula for the equation of a circle, where hk is the center and r is the radius. Hopefully you recognize this picture. It says, put the information in. AD is x, BD is 3, DC is x plus 8. To determine if it's Hill-Sess, I look to see if there's an L or an A. Which is involved here? Leg is not involved. Altitude is. Sess. Segment x over 3 equals 3 over x plus 8. Cross multiply and solve. X parentheses x plus 8. 3 times 3 is 9. X squared plus 8x equals 9. Mr. X squared, he wants to party. He can't party right now. 9's got to come over. We get x squared plus 8x minus 9 equals 0. Party time! Bubbles. We're factoring. Two numbers that multiply to 9. Let's see, it's 1 and 9, 3 and 3, which subtracts to 8. 9 and 1. factor equal to 0. X is negative 9. X is positive 1. Side of a triangle cannot be negative, so x must equal 1. The question is asking for DC. DC is x plus 8. So DC is 1 plus 8, which makes it 9. In rhombus length. Rhombus length. WI is x plus 1. IN is 2x minus 7. Oh, what's a good idea to draw a picture? I don't need to draw a picture for this stuff. What question should you be asking yourself? Take 3 seconds. Ask yourself the question. Did you come up with it? The question is segments or angles. These are segments. Once you recognize their segments, set them equal to each other. If they're angles, they might be set equal to each other, or they might add to 180, depending if they're the same or different. Segments, set them equal. Instead of the equation, solve the equation. The question is asking for the value of x. X is equal. 10. This is so important. A lot of students, they see this, they ignore it. As soon as you see that AC is congruent to CB, mark it, mark the angles opposite. Such a small thing, but it goes so far. Angle A is 40. Well, if this is 40, and mark that these are the same, this must be 40 as well. It wants to measure angle C. Always put an X in what you're trying to find. And now that you have the 3 angles of a triangle, we add them to equal 180. X equals 100. I put an X in what I was trying to find. So XC equals 100. What do I got next? Ooh, the equation of a line that passes through the point. Well, I know my equation of a line is y equals mx plus b. So to write the equation of a line, I need my m and b. Well, it's perpendicular to this equation. You need to know parallel has the same slope, and you need to know that perpendicular has negative reciprocal slope. So, I got to get y by itself. So the slope of this line is negative 1/2. So the slope of my perpendicular line, the negative reciprocal of that, is positive 2. My x and my y, I get from my point. To find my b now, I substitute in to y equals mx plus b. Negative 1 equals 2 times 6 plus b. Negative 1 equals 12 plus b. Minus 12 minus 12. Negative 13 equals b. Here's my b. Here's my m. Y equals 2x minus 13. Candy corn trapezoid. Once you recognize this picture, it's easy as long as you recognize the picture and you know what the rule is. 2 times the midsegment equals base plus base. Study. Make sure you recognize this picture, the candy corn trapezoid. Once you do, it's 2 times the midsegment equals base plus base. AB is 4x plus 20. DC is 3x plus 2. EF is 4x plus 1. 2 times the mid-segment equals 3x plus 2 plus 4x plus 20. 8x plus 2 equals, combined by terms, 7x plus 22. Minus 7x minus 7x. X plus 2 equals 22. Minus 2 minus 2. X equals 20. It's asking for the value of x. X 20. We're getting there. Number 13. Candy corn problem. We have a song for this. Let's get our information here first. AT is 5. TV is 7. TV is 8. Find BC. We know in our song. Let's first of all call the top. Candy corn, bases separate. Are the bases involved? Yes. If the bases are involved, I separate my triangles. I have A, T, V, the small triangle, and I have A, B, C, the big triangle. Remember, if the bases are not involved, then we make a proportion where we put the top over the top, the side over the side, or the bottom over the bottom. Now I'm going to put this information into the small pictures. This is 8, this is 5. This is X. AB is 12. If you don't want to separate your triangles, it's very likely you're not going to come up with that 12. I can't make you do it, but if you want to get the question correct, do it. Once you get to this point, we should know to create your proportion, put the corresponding pieces on top of each other. 5 goes over 12. 8 goes over X. 5X equals 108. 106. Divide by 5. X equals 96 over 5. You can leave it as a decimal or a fraction. What is that, 19.2? Don't be afraid of fractions. Okay, final question. Let's start by getting this thing in graph. -2, -3, -1, it's M. A is -1, -1. T is 4, 2. H is 3, 0. It's so pretty. It wants you to prove that it's a parallelogram, but not a rectangle. Well, let's pretend it is a rectangle. You need to know how to prove these. Unless it's a trapezoid where we have to do slope, we do distance. Either 4 or 6. If you're not sure how many to do 6. For rectangle and square, we have to do 6. So I'm going to do all 4 sides as well as the diagonals. I'm going to do MA. I'm going to do AT. I'm going to do TH. I'm going to do HM. I'm going to do AH, the diagonal. And I'm going to do MT. I know my distance formula, radical, change in x squared, plus change in y squared. You don't know your distance formula, you are in trouble. Let's start with MA. 1, 1, 2. AT. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. TH. 1, 1, 2. H10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5. Oops. 5. 1, 2, 3. I might have counted wrong. I made my grid a little smaller so we could fit it here. Let's look at 8C one more time. Ooh, 8C was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. No problem. Let's just make that little correction. No, I'm not going to record this whole thing over because of that. Because it's just not going to happen. All right, H. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. MC. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 plus 4. 25 plus 9. 1 plus 4. 25 plus 9. 16 plus 1. 36 plus 25. Radical 5. Radical 34. Radical 5. Radical 34. Radical 17. Radical 61. That's the hard part. And the hard part only gets you 2 points. Now, we have to explain it. Well, you have to know the explanation. You have to know how to prove something's a parallelogram. And you can tell me that. So, math is a parallelogram because it has 2 pairs of opposite sides congruent. You have to know to prove a parallelogram it has 2 pairs of opposite sides congruent. So tell me what they are. Well, this one was congruent to this one, so I'm going to say MA is congruent to TH because they have the same distance. And these two are the same. So I'm going to say HC is congruent to HM, again, because they have the same distance. Now, it asks me to prove that it is not a rectangle. Well, again, you have to know how to prove it is a rectangle or it's not a rectangle. That has to do with the diagonals. A rectangle has congruent diagonals. These are not congruent. That is good. Math is not a rectangle because diagonals are not congruent. Now tell me what they are. AH is not congruent to MT because they don't have the same distance. There's a lot of little things you need to know for these problems. You must practice them, you must study them, but they're very straightforward. I'm telling you, you're going to see this on your test. I'm telling you, you're going to have to do distances. You're going to have to know that the opposite sides of the parallelogram are congruent. Diagonals are congruent for a rectangle, all sides are congruent for a rhombus, and for a square, all sides are congruent and diagonals are congruent. I hope you enjoyed this and hope you are using this to study. You watching this is not going to help you. You need to do the problems. You need to stop and refer to this. Again, your exam is going to be on Thursday. That's March 5th. That's in 2 days from right now. Right now it is 3:44 on Tuesday, and I'm sitting in my classroom making this for you. So please utilize it, and I will see you all tomorrow, which might be the past depending on when you are looking at this. All right. Hopefully this thing has been recording. Yes, it has. Goodbye.